Rebel. Babe, can you see that? Snapchat, Instagram, Uchikila. We could have told to better.
Hi guys, Pink. And welcome to another episode of Her Hour. I don't know why every episode I'm like, hi guys. Hi, Our Rangers.
Yes, we have a name for our
Rangers.
I
love
Rangers.
that. I love
Are you
that.
happy? Are you flourishing? Are you, feeling good? Are you hydrated?
Yes.
Are you well rested? That's the important things right now. Anyway, today, my name is Jordan.
Today your name is
every other
Jordan.
day.
She's been drinking all morning.
No,
so.
please. Don't listen to her. Anyway, today, like every other day, my name is Jordan, and today I'm also joined by this new stranger guest. host.
Your fave, Vera. How are you guys doing?
Right. If you've been watching, you know that she happens to barge into every episode.
Somehow.
So, I don't
I
know.
pop up.
But yeah, we're joined by a very special guest
Yes.
who is going to introduce herself. Because on this podcast we don't introduce people.
Oh, really? You
They
guys can
introduce-
tell me
Yeah,
this?
we leave it to you to introduce yourself. So whatever you
Right.
choose to include or leave out, it's on you.
That's your own thing.
The extraordinaire.
Oh.
The beautiful. Mother of a king.
She wants a drum roll.
My name is Gamu, aka Gaga. So Gaga is safe. Gaga
Yes.
is a comfortable, my alter ego.
Gaga.
I'm 28. I went to school with my Maria. I'm just meeting Jordan.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry.
For the people who don't know who that is, she means Vera.
Yes. Sorry.
That's how long back we go. Is that she knows the OG name, the OG gangster
Right.
name. Like
Right.
that's how far
Like
back we
government
go.
papers.
Like grade
Government
1
birth
all the way to
certificate.
upper 6. We've been at the same school. That's actually kind of crazy. So yes.
What else? I'm a lecturer, journalist, mental health activist.
So basically she's smart.
Yes.
She's everything.
So yeah, as you can hear again guys, we are kindly joined by our special background noise. I mean
Yes.
choir. I mean whatever that is.
Band.
Background. And yeah, they're just gonna be here to add some
Flair.
ambiance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're at our favorite place to shoot, Shea Zandi.
I think Vera's speaking for herself. I'm joking. No, I'm kidding. No shade. We love some
We
shade.
love Shea Zandi because
I'm
we
just
love.
playing.
She always allows us to come here and drink
Love you.
at any time of the day, which
Right.
is
Oh,
awesome.
that's lovely. I
Right.
love that. I love
So
that.
anyway, today we are speaking on a very what is the word? Very
It's a complex
Yeah,
subject
it's very
because people have
complex.
mixed emotions
very
about
complex.
it.
Okay.
But it's something that a lot of people are talking about, especially like on the interwebs, especially on Twitter. There's this whole idea of being from one side of the tracks and being from another side of the tracks. And in this case, the tracks are Samora Machel,
Yes.
or Ms. versus Zim. The Ms. versus Zim.
The Mrs. which side?
The Ms is like, oh my god, no problem.
The north of Samora.
Yes,
Yeah.
the North of
Okay.
Samora. They
So,
studied
yeah.
out of the country, living their best lives, and
Right.
then
Okay.
Right.
the local studiers who aren't really living their
Or
best
don't even
lives.
study. Don't even have the privilege of studying. That's a
Yeah,
big privilege.
true.
Right.
That
No,
is,
that's
yeah,
very
that
true.
is.
Right. So yeah, I think let's just dive right into it, guys.
Yeah.
So classism. What is your definition of classism? What is your understanding of classism? What have you understood of it in your upbringing, in your experience?
Yeah. I think more for me, classism came up in my experience because, I was born in north of Samora, if we're going to just call it
Right,
that.
right.
I had a good upbringing. I went to good schools, good universities. My parents did what they could to make my life and my siblings' life comfortable.
Right.
Then now I lecture at Harare Poly, and you meet different people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So that's when it clicked. Like before, I thought, this is
All the
normal.
same. Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
is like this. You choose where you go to school, you choose where to do this. Until I had students I care about.
Yeah.
And I realized that no, we were not brought up the same. We were not given the same opportunities. We didn't have the same, bread basket and
Yeah.
everything like that. So my understanding is
Silver spoon.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
I had a better life, and
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. And I teach people who have not. So it's you know, I'm more understanding to it. It's clicked more that wait, my life was normal, it was good, but not everyone has that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Normal for you.
Yes, normal for me.
Right.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah, for me, like, I think I've had like a taste of both worlds. Like, I think growing up, you're put in this bubble. I think even with the school that we went to, like, we were kind of put in this bubble that like we're all the same and like, ooh, kumbaya. Until you like the real world hits you 18, you strike 18 and you're like,
Not even real world, guys. Like, I think even in a school setting, you would see the things people would come to school with, and you'd be like.
But this is the thing. This is where like my defense is that like at our school, right? As much as like we went to school with the former president's daughter, there were so many ministers' kids that went to our school.
Right.
But like the thing is, you wouldn't know until someone was like, oh, that's the president's daughter, or oh,
maybe
that's
parents teachers meeting when the
when you see the parents
in.
coming, you're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, is that your dad?
Yes.
You know, I remember there's the one girl, I'll mention her name because like I don't think it's a big deal. Vimbai Midzi. I didn't know that her dad was like a minister.
Who's that for people who
Okay,
don't know?
so if you guys know
Like
the former
myself.
Minister Midzi, his daughter went to our school, and I only figured
a year
out
older than
she's a
us.
year older than us. I only figured out, I think, when he died, that like, oh, that was her dad. But like, she was so chill, like, even in terms of like privilege, like, you know, I guess maybe driving fancy cars, like you'd see someone maybe driving a Benz, you're like, okay, whatever, like, but like it wasn't really a thing in high school. I think it's only like when we left, when you now realize that, oh, I'm not going to America to study, I'm like, you know, stuck in a Zim setting because my parents can't afford it. That's when you realize that, oh, okay, like there are different social classes, there are different like monetary statuses for different
And you're
people
old
and things
enough
like
to
that.
now understand the political situation, the economic, and so how different things were.
You
I
see
think
how
that
things like function a
it's
bit
an age
differently.
thing. I
Yeah.
think
Right.
it's more an
Yeah.
age thing.
Okay, for me, my understanding of classism is basically where we all stand in the social strata, where we all like fall according to our financial status,
Yeah.
Yes.
where we all fall according to our social status. You know, that's also a way of being classist. Is if you are not exactly at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
So right now in Zim, the top of the food chain is a black Shona speaking man. That's the top of the food chain. No, if we're being
Why?
honest.
Really?
No, really. That is someone who has the most access to jobs, the most
Okay.
access to property,
Okay.
the most access to
never thought of it like that.
political settings,
Yeah.
constitutional settings, anything like that. That is the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
The bottom of the food chain now is a white woman.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
A
Now. I
white,
get what you
actually
mean.
a white queer woman. That's the bottom of the barrel, like scraping. You know what I'm saying? So in Zim, the setup is completely different than maybe America or Europe.
Or even South Africa.
Right.
Yeah,
even South Africa.
yeah.
So I think definitely my understanding is that if you are from governments, you are like top of the barrel.
But depending
have
on what
your
part of government, like you
point.
have to specify, because you can have a civil servant that
Yes.
technically is still under government.
Okay, I mean
but
like upper
they're
echelon.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah,
that makes sense.
definitely. So, do you think that there are any like problematic stances within like the upper class that are affecting the lower class citizens?
Like, what do you mean by problematic?
Okay, like let's say this idea of let's keep using this ZWL currency because it benefits
hear you.
the upper class.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the lower class citizens?
It doesn't.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's great for those people who have money to burn and
Yeah.
use in
And
the
have the
streets.
US and the
Right,
access
right,
to the US.
Right.
I do think that any upper class privileges will obviously not be privileges to the
Right,
lower class.
right.
So any access to funds that are easier for them, the banks that give them loans,
Right.
you're more likely to get loans from banks. You're more likely to have a foreign currency account and be allowed that. So I think any privilege should be looked at as an opposite for the lower class.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you see anything, Vera?
Yeah, definitely. I think that upper class and like there's certain things that those who are in power make the rules. Like that's always just been a
Right.
thing. Those who have the money make the rules. I think that's even something that's happening a lot in America. But I guess I can't remember which politician it is who just dropped out of the presidential race, who's like the billionaire, because like he couldn't pay his way to the top. But like in most circumstances, you'll find that is a situation that like once you have the money, you're the one who makes the rules. Like the people who have the money are the ones that set the black market rates because they're the ones that are putting the USD into the black market.
Right.
They're the ones who say that, okay, today we can afford to do it at 34%. Then 3 weeks from now it's going to be at 20% or whatever. So, of course, definitely the different classes, the different social statuses will always be like, the higher ups will always be the ones that can make the decisions, that can determine how everyone else has to live.
But I feel like the
use
economic,
ego.
like when you mention black markets, something just rang off. Like I feel like now the upper class is now feeling what the lower class has felt for the past, Zimbabwe is almost 40 years,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Because now when I hear about the rate is 40, I'm like, I cannot afford this. I cannot. I feel like maybe it's God, maybe it's a spiritual thing for the upper class to finally feel what the lower class has been feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel like the lower class was built to now live through this. So they're like, they're struggling, but they're still like, yeah, but this has been our life for 40 years. And now upper class is all like, we can't do this, we're done.
Now
we're
they're
tired.
complaining.
Now they're complaining.
Right.
Yes.
I completely agree with you. I feel like struggle builds resilience. It
Yes.
builds a sense of being able to adapt.
Yeah.
Right. This is something I was actually reading recently online that says that, especially with the whole coronavirus thing that's going on right now, people are saying that these Western countries don't know how to deal with the coronavirus situation because they've never been through abject poverty like a third world country.
Yeah.
So being subjected to something that could potentially change your financial flow has made them go into a state of panic. Whereas for us who live in a place where poverty is right on your doorstep, literally, it could creep under your doorstep and become part of your life.
That's true.
At any moment. It's
true.
something that we're so used to. 2008 came and went.
Yeah.
We built from the ground up.
Yep.
20 whatever, whenever this started, 2018, 19, whatever, came, we're back there again. But look at us, we're still building from the ground up. People are still making a plan. As much as we're in dire need of a
lot of
change.
assistance.
Yeah.
But we're resilient, I think.
I think one of the interesting things is that there's kind of been a shift in people that come from a certain class. Like if you looked at it during colonialization and things like that, you'd find that the so-called lower class citizens were the ones that are now presidents, ministers, owners of banks, owners of very big companies. Whereas now the lower class citizens have to I don't know if their struggle will have that happy ending that before it had. Before that, okay, if I really work hard, if I push and I hustle and blah blah blah, I'm gonna get to this point. I know we have our few success stories. I'm not too sure about, maybe it's not like Janimbi, he just kind of popped out of nowhere. I don't know what his background is. Maybe
I don't know.
What's his name? What's his name? Not AC, the other guy.
Who?
The one who's the FIFA guy.
Chiangwa.
Yes, Chiangwa. Chiangwa came from a very shady background, right?
Yeah, he comes from
and he
shady,
worked his way
shady
up
parts.
to the top. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But he is still a part of the older generation. I don't know if we know, maybe Enzo. Maybe we can look at from a musician point of view, the Enzo Aishals, the Ja Praiser. Literally was a Kumusha boy, guys.
Yeah, he was.
And look at him now. He's rolling in fancy cars, flourishing. Winky
Used
D,
his
same
talent.
thing. Ghetto guy, making it to the upper class. So we do have some of those kind of migrating stories, but I think they're less I don't know, they have less of an impact as before, 40 years ago where Mugabe was a poor guy and he became the president. Most of our parents, if you ask them their backstory, it's we were living in high fields and now they're living in middle to high density, right?
No, that's very true.
Yeah, so it's an interesting kind of transition.
It is.
To take
It is.
care of.
Do you think that there's this idea that people in the upper class gatekeep spaces, they don't allow people from the lower class to infiltrate their spaces, and they make it kind of difficult for someone who's coming up to have access to these spaces, or I don't know.
I don't know if it's a gatekeeping. What I do believe is that people from the upper class, we just spoke about, our parents came from rough upbringing, so they want to save those spaces for their children, for their children's children. So I think that's why in Zimbabwe we always say it's easier to get a job when you know people. It's easier to do things when you know people. So I think it's not gatekeeping, it's more, I know my struggle and my generation has to be good, so I'm taking care of my own.
Securing the bag for the whole family.
Exactly. I worked hard to get here, so everyone in my family needs to be set.
Right, I hear you. But when I speak of gatekeeping, I speak of let's speak on a space like, what can I say? Let's say like Borrowdale, like
Okay, I hear
let
you.
me say the Brook or something. Don't you think it would be harder for someone who is coming up from like the other side of Samora to acquire property within that Borrowdale Brook space because of
How they
gatekeep?
Yeah,
something
even
like
like how
that.
you look, like you can look a certain
Yeah.
kind. There's certain places that you go and like
Right,
if
and
you
your
don't
money
look,
looks different. Like
yeah, your money literally does look different.
Right.
Like
Girl,
you can
I'm still trying to get in the book. I think it's a struggle for all of us.
yeah, but that is true. Like I've had an experience where like, you know, I think it was there was a certain place, I won't mention the name, but like we got there and like these guys kind of gave us that look of, you know,
Can you afford this?
can you afford this? And I was like, well, sweetie, like we're not even paying in RTGS, we're paying in dollars. But like that actually put me off. I was just like, no, I don't even want to like spend here because like they had this whole thing because we weren't dressed a certain way, like we weren't looking like, you know, we just come out of like a runway model photo shoot or whatever.
Right.
Like, and there are situations like that. Even sometimes, even with looking for a job, like even as an artist, looking for a place to perform, you have a certain circumstance where because it's an artist from a certain social class that they'll be like, well, we don't like
Yeah, you're
artists
gonna
like that
bring
here.
certain people here.
And you're just like, what do you mean? Like
Right.
you don't want artists like that here? They're
Right.
like, no, because like they attract a certain crowd. But
Right.
you're like, I've performed in Harare Gardens, guys. I've performed in like very shady places, and I've had the ghetto and the upper class, the middle class, all classes appreciate my music. So does that mean that if my Windies like that take me home also want to come to watch my show now because I'm doing a show at this specific venue, they're not allowed to come through because
Right.
like their
this
money.
is exactly what I mean by gatekeeping.
I was about to
spaces.
say she
Right.
answered you.
Yeah. So that's like, I think that happens a lot where like people just like, I feel like if someone can afford to do something, afford to be in a certain space,
Right.
like it shouldn't be an issue. Like
Right.
our money,
right.
if it's $1 is $1. Like
Right.
it doesn't change value because it's coming out of
I hear
torn
you. I
jeans
completely
or
agree.
That's
I
very
feel like
Versace
we
or
should
whatever.
stop judging people based on how they look. You know, that's what it is. A lot of people actually in these spaces are broke.
Yeah.
They're not even rich. It's about posing and looking
Yep.
a certain way. If
Yeah.
you go to like, let's say if we go to Borrowdale and we go to what is that? H2? What is it called now? Pablo's.
Pablo's.
I was just saying
H2O.
This
We're
is how
the
you
same
know I'm right.
age. No, that means we're probably the same age.
I'm like, if you go to Pablo's and you're like on the roof, you know that like
yeah, the
rooftop
VIP
Yes.
section.
sushi Sunday.
Sushi Sunday.
A lot of
the
people
deck.
they are
Yeah.
pretending. They are spending their last dollars, guys.
Right? And they're probably like thinking, hey, Monday.
Go
Dog,
out
exactly.
and show.
You won't catch me there because I know that I don't have the coins to be sitting
Yeah.
there and like
Right?
Buying
flashing money, right?
Yeah.
There's actually people who go to these places who have US dollars to blow.
Yeah.
Like up to like $500 US to just blow on drinks.
That's
I don't
true.
have that. I'm not gonna go there trying
Yeah.
to be like,
Even if you had, I don't think we are adapt
Right,
to spend it
right.
that way.
I have things to buy. Like
Right?
I'd
I've
rather
got
buy, like,
bills to settle.
or some
like,
shoes, or pay for like a course, or
Yes.
buy a phone, or
Exactly.
something real and tangible,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like drinks. So yeah, I think it's very prevalent that there is a different way of existing, and your class sort of determines, not your class, but I guess how you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of
Upbringing.
determines the way that you socialize
True.
in this world.
That's true.
Right. So I really want to ask you guys this question. I don't know if it's something that you guys feel or
It's to both of us, right?
yeah, it's to all of us. It's an open
It's a
discussion.
discussion.
Okay. It's even to like people in the our
listeners.
viewers,
Yeah, yeah.
our rangers. So the question is, do you think that rich people or people who are in that make up that percentage of the population that has access to wealth,
Yeah.
not just money, I mean
Wealth. Yeah.
owes it to the lower class citizens to give back
Yes.
or start charity or somehow
You didn't even wait till, like,
put
yes.
their money into the people?
Yes, I
You think
do
so?
because for this wealth to happen, we don't know what happened. These people hire people from
Right.
lower densities.
Right.
Is it upper? When it's
Yeah,
lower?
lower
Upper?
density.
Yes,
You're right, lower density.
I thought it was the opposite. It's upper.
Upper density.
Upper density.
Yes,
Higher
upper,
density.
higher densities.
Higher
Yes.
densities.
So they
I always
hire
make that
people
mistake.
from higher densities to work in their factories, to work at their farms, to take care of their children,
Yeah, yeah.
and whatever the case is. So I'm not saying people must, but they need to realize that this wealth has not just come up. Yes, it came up from their good ideas, but to push those good ideas, you've hired many people to execute this.
Right.
So I feel they do owe it, even if they don't hire out people. Maybe it's just you're making money off your phone. It's just give back. It's in the Bible.
Right.
Give back.
Right.
I think this is also one of the examples I gave you, like when I was talking to you about like coming through for the episode, is that the Trevor Noah story. Trevor Noah, whatever, from the slums of South Africa, makes it to America, and then like South Africans were like, "Hey, fam, like, why aren't you giving back to us?" And I'm like, and he was like, yes, he's doing what he's doing, but like they wanted him to do more. I feel like sometimes,
like, I worked hard for
you know, he worked hard for it, like, right?
Yeah,
and like I think sometimes I get it, yes, like
people feel entitled to your money.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like if we were to like start making it now, like from her hour, we're now like making serious bag. We get called by Oprah. Oprah's like, nah, I'm gonna. Everyone gets $1 million, right?
Some way the Hour Rangers are gonna feel entitled.
And then they're gonna be like, well, we were the ones when you were still on 3 views. We were the 3 viewers, and like, but like,
actually, no. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to pause you there. We've never had 3 views. So
we've never had 3 views. Of course.
Don't come with that.
But like, I feel like sometimes as I don't want to say poor people, as the lower class, right? We have this victim mentality. It's the same thing with Africans. We have a victim mentality. As women, we have the victim mentality where it's just like, oh, because like I was on the lower end of the food chain, it's owed to me that people need to like give me what I want. Like you'll have I always have this argument with like my African American friends when I'm like, I get it that yes, there's you know, there's so many issues with racism and everything, but like you can't now just have an attitude where you're like, I'm gonna walk into a shop and like they must just give me a job because I'm black, or because I'm a woman I must get a job, because I'm poor ED must send me $5,000 so I can also live my best life. No, but like you need to earn your stripes. Like I don't think there should just be this fund for poor people, the lower class citizens, because you're in the lower class segment.
I don't know.
I don't
know if I agree. I don't know. You know how in corporations there's CRS?
Yes, CSR.
CSR.
Corporate social responsibility.
Sorry.
That's one.
Sorry, my acronym. CSR, which is, like you said, corporate social responsibility. I think that implies, what is wrong with me? Applies to individuals as well. I think there should be individual social responsibility as well. Even if you're not rich, I think we all have a responsibility to help the next person that is not in the position that we are in. I think it's a human thing. I don't think it's something that we should be like,
but the extent of the help is my issue.
Oh my God.
Yes. My issue is the extent of the help, because you'll have people like, look at Oprah, for example. Oprah has done a lot. She gave her audience things. She was building a school in SA. Like she built it. Yeah. Like she's doing a lot of things. But like you'll still have people who'll be like, well, Oprah's a part of the 1% that's making money, living her best life. She needs to do more. And I'm like, but like, yes, she is doing a lot.
Yeah.
Like when is like, what is the
when is it enough?
Yeah, when is enough
I feel
enough?
like there will be no correct answer to this, because yes, you should give back and help out, because like I said, people are helping you out. You said, it's your corporate social responsibility, but also
individual social responsibility.
But also when you help these people, what are they using the money for? Are they just going to go buy alcohol and drugs and go to the clubs? Are they using it to invest in school? So like you said, I feel like there should be I've done enough. It's now up to you guys. I've built you the schools. I've given Chicago money. I've given Harare money.
You know what? I think on that point, I don't think it's more about handing out your money.
Yes.
I think it's more about building something that is self-sustaining, or something
like building
that creates jobs,
capital.
or something that helps.
Right,
human capital, something that helps to contribute back to the people who have been giving you your money. Right. So like maybe not like, hand out $100 or hand out like $1,000 to like Ellen, when this is not Ellen, you know what I mean? Like give money in the form of assets.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even like if you look at what, like a good example, I know people will crucify me for this. Yes, we all have our issues with Econet.
Y'all are now crucifying her for the second time.
I knew you were going to bring it up. I knew you were going to bring up Econet.
Like strive mercy, guys. Like I have to give credit where it's due. Like the Joshua Nkomo scholarship, it did help out a lot of people. Even like, I know people have issues with the government, but there are also those government scholarships that were helping out people to go and study outside of the country. So, you know,
especially South African universities.
Yeah. So there are these like initiatives that are happening, that people are doing, that are helping people.
I disagree.
That sounds like that's where now the question comes in about.
Sorry, I can't agree, because I'm like, your prices of
that's where your data charges are going. They're going to pay someone's school fees.
They're not accessible to like the lower class.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm like, you're gonna sit here and only accommodate or provide services to people who are like middle class or lower middle class and up. And even the lower middle class people cannot buy data on a regular basis.
$50 for
But
600
we live
MB.
in a generation or an age where the internet is essential.
Very.
You live on
It's
the
the new
internet.
age.
You send emails every single day if you're a working class citizen.
Yeah.
You send emails.
You can go to school on
You
the
need
internet.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, if you don't have WhatsApp, then I can't speak
Help
to
you.
you.
Yeah, business happens on
Businesses,
WhatsApp.
right.
Yeah.
No, I can't. It's $10 for a weekly WhatsApp bundle.
That finishes in 2
That
days.
finishes in like 1 second. Send 3 pictures and it's done.
Yeah.
No, that's
No,
not
I hear you.
accessible. As much
Yeah.
as yes, great, you're giving back, babes. You need to like accommodate
You're
the
also
lower class.
taking back.
Right.
They're giving back, but they're earning it all back. So are
Right,
they really
right,
giving back?
right,
Yeah,
right.
but again,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
so
it's always
basically,
gonna be
they're
a
taking
question.
money from the upper class. I mean, the middle class and up
Upper class
to help the lower class. So
But is that a bad thing? It's like Robin Hood, who steals from the rich to give to the poor. So
why can't there be a middle ground?
Right.
I
This is a
guess,
great
yeah.
idea. This is not a great idea. This is a great point to look at solutions. I think,
Yeah.
like you said, there needs to be a middle ground.
Yeah.
There needs to. So someone would probably say, should we be a communist nation? Communism.
Communism does not work.
Should we be
guys.
communist? Should we spread the wealth? Spread the
No.
wealth evenly.
No.
Has it worked
Do you
for
know
those
what?
that are?
Right, see? This
That would
comes
be
back
my
to
turn.
like what I was saying about the other day. We were talking about employment and we were like, can everyone be like an entrepreneur? And I was like, no, like it doesn't work that way for everyone to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't work that way for like wealth to be spread. Like I think we shouldn't have such a huge gap in social classes and like, you know, wealth, the wealth range shouldn't be so extreme, like where you have the extremely rich and the extremely poor, which I think happens in quite a few countries. But what
Right,
I
like
don't
Jeff
think that
Bezos, who is like a multi-billionaire.
yes, and then you have
Does
someone
that
who's
even
earning
make
like
sense?
$20 like a month.
There are people
Like
who are
that doesn't
earning
make sense.
nothing.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think when the wealth gap is too wide, that shouldn't happen. But communism doesn't make sense. It doesn't work because it still comes down to a thing of like how
Laziness.
is it? Yeah, laziness. How
Right.
really is this stuff distributed? Does it really push for like maximum production?
Yes.
Are people really willing to be innovative? Because like if I come up with a great idea, I'm gonna be like, well, if I start my business now, like this rando who was just sitting at home also gets to benefit from like this thing that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into. Do you get it? So, communism.
Do you feel like
I think
the
you guys understand communism.
no? Okay.
Have you seen
communism-
how I've been quiet?
the concept?
Because I was
Okay,
like,
there's the textbook.
Let me not speak on
There's
this.
the textbook version, the textbook understanding of communism and the definition
Yeah.
versus like reality.
Yes.
So in the textbook it says communism is the distribution of,
Of wealth,
wealth
yes.
evenly
Yes.
amongst the citizens.
It's like here how we try to
Between,
do
like-
the command agriculture.
Right.
It's communism, guys. It's like these are like kind of semi-steps towards communism. Because it's when the
Why are you
government.
silent? I want to know. now.
no, because he made me insecure. Like, do you guys really know?
This is why it's called her our camera, guys. Let the women
Don't let
speak.
the mansplaining stop you.
No, I'm listening, and
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I have a point,
Right.
it'll come. It'll
Right,
come.
right.
Because
Okay,
I'm also
so-
learning. This is not really
I
much.
think that it's fair to say that there are people who are in the lower class who work way harder than people who are in that 1%
That's
of
true.
wealth.
Yeah.
I agree.
Work like crazy
Day and
hours
night. Yeah.
and break their backs
Yeah.
and don't make a cent. So I think it's fair to say that hard work doesn't pay off, guys. It
Not
doesn't.
all the time.
Not all the
Sometimes
time.
it does,
It
yeah,
doesn't
but
pay
not all
off.
the time.
So this idea of rich people being like, work hard, it pays off. But we all have the same 24 hours. We all have the what?
But
no,
you
we
don't have the same resources.
No, we don't have
Right?
the same 24 hours.
Like the Kylie Jenner issue, like when she was the first self-proclaimed billionaire. I was just
Billionaire.
like, well, you started off with a starting fund of like 1 million. Same
Right.
thing with like Trump. Like when
Right.
Trump was like, I don't know what
A
statement
small loan.
he's like, I got a small loan of $1 million.
$1
Like, that's
Like
not a loan anyone just gets. And
For
this
me,
is
a
million
small
euros.
loan
Right?
is 5 US.
Like a loan, I was like, no, I don't think
Right.
anyone like can even like I don't even think a loan is $1 million, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think you go to the
I don't
bank and
think
be
any
like, can I
company
get a
would just
loan
give
of
you
$1
that.
million?
No, you have to get that from
That's
your
family
family.
wealth.
Right?
That's family
So,
wealth.
you
And
know,
she, with Kylie Jenner, she had the show. She's
Right.
been on it since she was a
had
kid.
Kardashian money.
So,
That's
yeah,
sex
exactly.
You have your mom
money.
who's managing you, like literally, she just needs to wake up and like fart out an idea and like because like the
That Rise
fandom
and
had already
Shine.
built already.
Did you guys see how that Rise and Shine thing?
Blew up. The song she was singing
like
for her
sang
daughter.
like for 2 seconds, like
And then her
Rise
mom
and Shine,
made it
and then
into like
became
a
thing.
meme app song.
Right, it
Or
became
got the rights for it.
merchandise,
Yes.
T-shirts,
Exactly.
what.
Wow.
You see, I even wanted the team to say the South thing's
As long as
good.
you have fans and people to clap for you, you can make money,
That would
guys.
be you guys.
It's not.
That's gonna be you guys, the
Thank
fans.
you.
We were
Our Rangers do the things. Do the things. But yeah, I think it's been a really great conversation. I think this is something we definitely have to speak on.
Yeah,
Again.
and like revisit
Part two.
definitely. Yeah.
I think I have one last question. Sorry. I really have to ask this question. Do you
As the
think
cameraman
that
frowns at
the
you.
idea of North Samora and South Samora still exists in modern day Zimbabwe?
Yeah, it does. It still exists. People still use that term. People still behave that way.
Yes.
They do. If you just want the short answer to that, yes.
Yeah.
It does.
And
I think even more so now.
Yeah. And I think the only difference now is that because we're a bit older, so we're not really, to a certain extent, we aren't really we don't really notice it. I think there's a certain age generation where it happens, like
Right,
extremely.
right.
Yes, it still happens when you're a bit old and stuff like that. With there's like this cattiness that happens between North and South of Samora. But I think the older you get, it's like less obvious. But there is a generation, which is the younger generation, where it's like one of those like, oh my gosh, you live in Mabuku.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, like, we don't care. Like, now you don't even ask someone, like, what school did you go to?
Right.
Like, we
Not
don't
anymore.
care. It's
Right,
like,
not anymore.
whatever, you went to a government school, so what? You went to a private school, who
Right,
cares? Like, you went to a mission
right,
school, whatever.
right.
Like, do we have good conversation? Do we get along?
Right.
Awesome. But, like, there is a generation where that stuff still really matters, where it's still, like, such a big issue. And, like,
That's true.
where you laugh at someone because, oh my gosh, she buy from my bureau. Like, when you're, like, past a certain age, you don't care. You're just like, fam, like,
Right.
That's true.
I think
agree.
definitely North and South Samora definitely still exists. It was apparent during the days of Unplugged when people used to complain. Unplugged still happens, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think just once a
when
year
it
now.
when
or
it
twice.
started, people were complaining about the fact that
South Samora
these
was
rich
coming
kids
to-
were coming to Unplugged and their phones were getting stolen, and they were like, oh no, these South Samoran riffraff.
stealing
our
People
phones.
actually wrote that on Twitter. They were like, I'm
Yeah,
so
I
glad
remember
that they
seeing that
created
tweet,
VIP.
yeah.
There's like, oh, it kept out the South Samoran riffraff. We're so happy.
I
What
can't
about,
even
I was
afford
like,
the VIP.
so yeah, I don't know. I think this is something that the conversation needs to continue in the comment section.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes,
Thank you for
on.
having me.
So
Thank you for
awesome.
having me. Thank you.
Very important topic. I definitely think we're gonna do this again.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
Our
thank you to the
social
Our
media
Rangers,
handles
right,
will
for
be
watching. Thank you for
somewhere.
watching. Our social
Somewhere.
media
On the screens.
handles. Comment, subscribe, like, watch our other videos, subscribe to our socials.
Yeah.
And
Follow
yeah.
us and see what other stuff that we're really doing, because I think that's also pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not just your hosts. We
Yes.
can be
We're
so much
people.
more if you want us to. I'm kidding. No, but I'm not kidding. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yes, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank
through.
you.
Yes,
It was good.
you're
It was a
the
good day.
best.
It was a good day.
So yeah, see you guys on the next one. Let's give them a
Yes.
cheers. Look me in the eyes.
Doesn't mean anything without eye
Right,
contact.
right.
It does. Apparently, bad luck and
Eye
bad something
contact.
else.
Yeah.
And bad something else.
That's something else for 7 years, so we don't want that.
Depending on how you hold me. Tonight we must paint this town. Queen of hearts and maybe gentry. Or maybe we can do more action. Gango.